Wednesday here, episode 2, Nafla TV. Long-awaited, most anticipated, besides from draft day and like opening day. MALO, VERDE's mock draft. I know all of you are just sitting there with your pen and your paper ready just to take notes and embrace the genius unto which I am about to unleash. Albeit, I think I'm right maybe 50% of the time on these. I think guys sometimes maybe they just pick people to spite me. But nonetheless, I'm going to do this because it's fun and I kind of like to see maybe how the thing's going to pan out, you know, and I love being right about things, so we're gonna roll with it. We're gonna see what happens. I'm also gonna go through each team and their keepers, so guys can kind of get a better. If you haven't looked, if you go to league overview, click on the league tab, scroll down to see rosters, and the starting rosters pop up so you can see who everyone has. But needless to say, I'm going to evaluate everyone and their teams, and yeah, we're gonna roll like that, and then I'm gonna look at it and tell you who I think they are going to pick in this year's 2020 Nafla draft, which is this Sunday. This Sunday, we're like, what's today? Friday. We're like 2 days away, guys. 2 days away from the biggest day of the year. In some cases, I'm excited. I really hope football doesn't shit the bed like other sports, unfortunately, have succumbed to. And I hope they continue to make strides in battling this horrible virus. So they can play football. I don't even care if there's, at this point with football, I don't even care if there's no fans in the stands. It's going to be strange. This whole thing has been strange, watching games with no fans in the stands and the cardboard cutouts and the virtual people. It's just weird. Makes it hard to watch. Hockey's been great, though. That you don't really see too much going on. And playoff hockey, as we know, is fantastic. But go Flyers. Anyhow, I'm rambling about stuff in the world. World's crazy right now, guys. World's crazy. Thank God we got fantasy football. Thank God we got Nafla TV. Take our minds away from all the chaos. And without further ado, I'm gonna bring it in here, and I'm gonna get on this thing. Mock draft 2020 Nafla MALO VERDE mock draft. Let's start it off with a bang. Mock draft. How stupid was that? Awesome stupid. Psst. I mean, there was some 4-part harmony on there. It was pretty good. Let's get it rolling, shall we? Starting off, Rock, Flag, and Eagle. Pick number 1 of the 2020 Nafla NFL Draft. Rock has a solid little roster here going, guys. He's got Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, right? Coming off a Super Bowl, poised to have a big year. Got pretty much everyone back on that Kansas City team. He's also got A.J. Brown, who came on strong last season at the end of the season there. Really came into his own there as a wide receiver. David Montgomery, second-year running back in Chicago, who got hurt yesterday, I believe. Looks like it's a groin. It's going to sideline him for some time. And he's got Demario Davis, who was a top-producing linebacker in Nafla last year. Demario Davis put up 297 points at 87 solo tackles, so he was a pretty solid year. Close to 300 points there. That's what you want out of a defensive player. Look at it. I mean, it's pick number 1. We're sitting there, Barkley, McCaffrey, right? Barkley, McCaffrey, or Barkley. When you look at the numbers, I mean, Christian McCaffrey had a season last year. I mean, unprecedented season. 19 combined touchdowns. He had 287 attempts for 1,387 yards and 15 touchdowns on the ground. Targeted 142 times as a running back. Crazy. 116 receptions for just over 1,000 yards and 4 touchdowns there. When you look at the numbers, McCaffrey, of course, is gotta be the number one pick, right? But there's a little snag in this formula. Luke just so happens to be a Giants fan. Saquon Barkley, bit of a down year, right? Had some nagging little injuries and things of that nature, kept him sidelined. Looked there for a while. He was going to be on the sideline he was going to miss a great deal of time, but he worked hard, got back on the field. Second year here, Daniel Jones. They got a new head coach. Of course, new head coaches are going to utilize their assets. They got to win games. They got to maintain. They got to keep their job. I think Barkley's going to have a really good bounce back year. I really do. I mean, Daniel Jones, a young quarterback's best friend is a solid running game. I think Barkley's going to have a bounce back year. So McCaffrey or Barkley or McCaffrey. That's what we want to know, right? I think the homer, and I can relate, Luke. I can relate, bro. Let's get in here, right? Look, right? I can relate. Sometimes you want to pick your hometown. You want to pick your team. You want to sit there when you watch football on Sundays and root for your guys, right? That being said, Saquon Barkley is off the board. Pick number 1, Rock Flag and Eagle, looking at 496 projected points. I mean, you really look at McCaffrey's projected to get 492 and Barkley's projected to get 496. But like I said, I think that the homer comes out and Rock Flag and Eagle and Saquon Barkley is off the board, making the number 2 pick extremely easy to make, right? The Todd Fathers on the board, pick number 2. He's got a nice little core. He's got Rivers and Hilton there, handcuffed, quarterback and receiver. Both coming off subpar years last year. Rivers threw a lot of picks. Change of scenery. He's got Frank Magic Wright calling the plays for him now. Maybe he's got 1 year, 2 years left in him. We'll see. Remains to be seen with Rivers because last year he just was a turnover machine. He's also got Nick Bosa, defensive end, and Jamal Adams, safety. So solid little defense building there with the Todd Fathers. Pick number 2, I think at this point, it's a no-brainer. I don't even have to go on. I went through the stats. Christian McCaffrey, number 2 to the Todd Fathers to add to that nice little core going there. Pick number 3, Youngblood's Jason Mundy, who revealed to me in a conversation that he's putting on his big boy pants this year. That's right. That's right, Naflers. He's coming for you. He said in 2 years he's going to have a dynasty. Give him 2 years to have a dynasty. He's building a winner this year. None of this drafting at the top shit. He's building a winner, guys. He's coming for all of us. We'll see. Let's hope he's for real. I like to see that. I hate when people talk out their ass and don't back it up. Jay, where you at? I'm calling you out, bro. Young Bloods. He's got Kirk Cousins at quarterback. You like that. He's got Raheem Mostert, who should be the go-to guy. Really proved himself there down the stretch. I mean, had a couple monster games down the stretch last year. Helped that San Francisco team get to the Super Bowl. He's got Deion Jones, Devondre Campbell, 2 pretty solid linebackers. Jones got hurt. Going to have a bounce-back year, I think, this year in Atlanta. So he's got Cousins, Mostert, Jones, and Devondre Campbell. He needs a running back, I think. When you look at Mostert, you don't know, is Tevin Campbell going to take carries? Mostert is a starter, but you don't know, right? Could have been just a fluke. We have no idea. When you got talent like this at the top of the draft, I think you got to stack your running back position. So we're going to look young bloods to take Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook poised to have a pretty good season. He's in contract year, which sometimes, guys are in a prove it type scenario. He's kind of battled some nagging injuries. I think he missed a couple games last year. Maybe one game. Let's check that. I think Dalvin Cook missed maybe 1, maybe 2 games. 2 games. He played 14 games. He had 250 carries for 1,100 yards, 13 touchdowns on the ground, which is solid. He also had 53 catches, 63 targets, and 53 catches for 519 yards in the passing game. So when you're looking, you got Kirk Cousins, now you handcuff, right? You're going to hear that word a lot in this mock draft. Handcuff, Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins, Young Bloods, pick number 3, Dalvin Cook going to the Young Bloods. Pick number 4, everybody's favorite villain, the guy you love to hate, the Tom Brady of fantasy football. Dare I say the GOAT? Mean Green on the board. Bit of a down year for Mean Green last year. Wentz and Ertz, his two keepers, two of his keepers, Wentz, Ertz, Jalen Smith, Landon Collins. That's how all NFC East teams. What's going on there? Wentz and Ertz started off slow. He had a couple other guys start off slow. He drafted A.J. Green kind of mid-round thinking he was going to get in there. Never saw the field. Kind of suffered at receiver. So down year for the Green Beaner. Looking to bounce back. He's got 3, count them, 3 first-round draft picks. Not 1, not 2, but 3 first-round draft choices. Green on the board. I tell you, Tennessee Titans, ground and pound. Love it. Mike Vrabel, got that strong defense, and you got a big, nasty, hungry back in Derrick Henry. That was a force to be reckoned with last year. I mean, my God, can we talk about it? 300 carries, 1,500 yards, 16 touchdowns. And a lot of that production came down the stretch into the playoffs, which helped carry the Boo Birds, who had him last year, to make a run in the playoffs. I mean, Derrick Henry, he got paid this year, too. He scored 470 points last year. He's on pace this year to score 429 points. Derrick Henry, pick number 4 to Mean Green. Moving on, pick number 5, Da Bears on the board. He's got Matt Ryan at quarterback. He's got Jarvis Landry and Hollywood Brown at wide receiver. He's got Joe Schobert. Joe Schobert, ladies and gentlemen, the second highest scoring defensive player in Nafla last year. This guy's become a nice little beast in the middle there. He wreaked some havoc. He's now in Jacksonville. He scored 319 points last year, 89 solo tackles, a couple sacks in there. Solid player. Of course, we're looking running back. And my uncle, he does play with his head when it comes to fantasy. That's why he's he has multiple championships in multiple leagues. He does play with his head and not his heart. Albeit, I can't stand the guy because he eats his porridge and he looks like an Ewok. Zeke Elliott off the board. Da Bears needs a running back. Zeke's best available. Looking at 420 projected points in Nafla this year. Zeke he had a solid year last year. You know, he put up some numbers. 12 touchdowns for Zeke last year. Was the third ranked running back, I think, in Nafla last year. Let's just pull Zeke up here real quick. Yes, Zeke scored 458 points last year, had 301 touches for 1,357 yards and 12 touchdowns. He also is a focal point in that passing game. 71 targets, 54 catches, 420 yards, smoke it up, and 2 touchdowns in the passing game. So Zeke Elliott off the board, pick number 5. Pick number 6, Willow Street Hash. Aaron Hash, who also has a nice little core going here. Aaron Hash, nice little core guys. He's got Devontae Adams, arguably one of the top 5, top 3, maybe, receivers in all of football. Probably about 4, I'd put him, right? We got Thomas, we got Hopkins, we got Julio Jones, we got, I would say, Devontae Adams in there. He's going to get a lot of touches. I mean, he had a lot of targets last year. I think he had 127 targets last year. Missed 4 games due to injury, got banged up in the Eagles game, but he still managed to get on the field and put up some numbers. I don't think he had 1,000 yards. He was just under 1,000 yards, I believe. Yeah, 997 yards, 5 touchdowns for the year, 127 targets go. And that's only going to increase because Aaron Rodgers has absolutely nobody to throw to. The Green Bay Packers did nothing to help Aaron Rodgers' cause in the draft by getting him any other kind of weapons to throw to. Lost Jimmy Graham. They got what? Scantling. They got Ellison. They got Lazard. A bunch of no-name guys there in Green Bay. Devontae Adams going to get some touches. Miles Sanders. Everybody's jumping on the Miles Sanders hype train. I'm telling you. He's the guy now, you know. Came in when he finally got the starting job and became more of a focal point of the offense, aside from a few fumbles there. Miles, got to hold on to the ball, buddy. Has big play potential. Is that big play threat? He only scored 6 total touchdowns last year, I believe. But he is featured in the passing game a hell of a lot. I think we're looking at roughly about 60 targets last year. Miles Sanders, I think he had quite a number of catches, or maybe 50 targets. Let's try and take a look here. Miles Sanders was targeted 63 times for 50 catches, 500 yards, and 3 touchdowns through the air, and 179 touches on the ground, 818 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Everybody's on the hype train. Loves some Miles Sanders. Moving on, he's got Jared Goff and Fred Warner. Goff had a bit of a down year last year. I think he's going to bounce back. Don't know what's going on in L.A. there. Sean McVay, good coach. They got some talent. They should bounce back. What is Will Street Hash going to do? I think he's going to go running back to kind of, at this point, lock up that position, use him as your flex at this point. He could go receiver as well to kind of get a nice 1-2 punch there, maybe at wide receiver. But I think he's going to go running back. There's a kid out there, came out the same year as Miles Sanders, had a really good year. They both were in contention for Rookie of the Year last year. He's in Vegas. We're talking about Josh Jacobs. Las Vegas Raiders. That's right. The Raiders are in Las Vegas this year. Pretty crazy, right? Put up 317 points last year, 242 touches, 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns. Not featured too much in the passing game, only 20 catches for 166 yards. I've heard rumblings that they're going to try and get him more involved in the passing game. The idea is to get him the ball because he can do good things with it in open space. So I think they're going to try and get him involved in the passing game a little bit more. Josh Jacobs, even though they got Henry Ruggs III to stretch the field now, it remains to be seen whether or not that's going to pan out. I would have went Jerry Jeudy myself, but, I'm not Mike Mack. Maybe I should be. I'm playing him right now, right? Mike Mayock. I like Mayock. No hate there. So we're looking here at Josh Jacobs to Will Street Hash, pick number 6, I believe, projected 384 points this year in the mighty Nafla. Moving on to the comeback kids, Brother Painley. Doesn't have a quarterback. One of the teams that does not have a quarterback on their roster currently. He's got Evan Engram at tight end, kind of injury prone. Solid guy, but kind of injury prone. He's got Allen Robinson at wide receiver, kind of injury prone. Solid receiver, but kind of injury prone. He's got a beast defensive end, Daniil Hunter from Minnesota. I think he led the league in sacks last year, if my memory serves me right. Let's bring it up, shall we? Defensive end. I think he did lead the league in sacks last year. He had 14.5 sacks. No, Cameron Jordan actually had more sacks, and I think Shaq Barrett actually led the league in sacks last year. I think that's the way it goes. But he was a second in sacks. He, I think, was the number 1 scoring defensive end. That's what he is. He put up 266 points last year. Solid guy, defensive end. Marcus Golden at linebacker. He had sacks, but that's about it. I think he was in danger of actually not getting on a team this year, and then the Giants brought him back. Bailey needs some help, to say the least. Could he go quarterback or could he sit on a quarterback? I think something tells me he's in a position where he's going to be one of those guys in like potentially the Joe Burrow to a Tagovailoa sweepstakes in the keep around, looking for a young guy to maybe build on. Maybe he comes back and gets somebody like a Cam Newton or Jimmy G in later rounds that are available out there. Maybe he goes Drew Brees, but I think he's going to want to go running back. That's what I think. I mean, running back, as you can see, boom, 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 right down the line. That's the best talent available. We're kind of getting thinner at that position, and guys that are up top, they probably want to, take advantage of the higher pick and get a better running back to solidify that position. And I think comeback kids, they're going to go Mr. Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon, pick number, where are we at? Pick number 7, Joe Mixon, projected to get 426 points. Mixon had a solid year last year. I mean, he's turned into a good player. 342 points last year. 278 touches, 1,100 yards, 5 touchdowns. Pretty involved in passing game, 45 targets, 35 catches for 287, and 3 touchdowns through the air. He's going to have Joe Burrow coming in there. Like I said earlier, rookie quarterback, young quarterbacks, a run game is their best friend. You get a solid run game to help a young quarterback, makes his life 10 times easier. So I think they're going to lean on Mixon, although they got some solid receivers. And Joe Burrow ain't no joke, guys. Let's just be real. He could be a bust, who knows, but he's no joke. I like me some Joe Burrow. He was fun to watch last year. That is for sure. So Joe Mixon off the board. Comeback Kids pick number 7. Kemper BTK pick number 8 in round 1 of the 2020 MALO, VERDE, Nafla, Mack draft. That's what I should change it to, the Mack draft. Return of the Mack. Mack draft, mock draft. We're looking here. Kemper BTK starting rosters. Also doesn't have a quarterback. And we got DK Metcalf and Sammy Watkins at receiver. I think Watkins is going to kind of fade out there in Kansas City. I think McCole Hardman, they're really looking big things at McCole Hardman to step up and kind of be a more explosive player in the passing game. So I think Watkins is going to probably be. There's a lot of guys in Kansas City that are going to, want touches that want the ball. I mean, Patty's going to have to spread that ball around. You got Devin Bush at linebacker, solid guy, rookie last year, and you got John Johnson III, safety, and for the LA Rams on his roster. He needs points, I think, here. I mean, Metcalf is probably his biggest producer last year. What did Bush do? Bush last year, I mean, it's solid. 72 tackles, only 1 sack, 2 interceptions. Not bad. Pittsburgh linebackers, tend to maintain, have good careers. Let's see what he did from a point perspective. So he's getting some points there on defense. Devin Bush looks to be, he's a top 20, 261 points last year in Nafla. He needs some points on offense, though, because Sammy Watkins didn't produce that much, I don't think. So we're looking at a guy that doesn't have a quarterback, needs to put up points. That's the bottom line. Drew Brees. Kemper's going to take Drew Brees. Why not take Drew Brees? The guy, 512 points. He had a bit of a down year. He got injured, had the thumb thing, right? Other than that, Brees has been able to stay healthy. I think the Saints have a chip on their shoulder. They've been kind of screwed the past couple seasons in regards to playoff losses and just how things have kind of gone down. I think that they're going to be in contention there. I think, of course, they're playing in a tougher division. Of course, you got Atlanta. You got Tampa with Brady down there now. That's going to be. Carolina's improved. You got Bridgewater, better quarterback, who was the guy that stepped in for Brees when he got hurt last year and played well. I think he won 5 games. Saints are going to be solid. They're going to be there, man. And you got Drew Brees, who's projected to score the most points out of all the players available in this year's draft. I think Kemper's going to pull the trigger. Why not, Kemper? You need a quarterback. You don't have much help there on offense. You do need a running back, but I think you could come back. There's still going to be some guys available. You're in that nice slot, bro. You're right smack dab in the middle. Pick number 8. I used to love picking there sometimes because you're constant, right? Every 16 picks, you're on the clock. You don't have to wait 32 picks. You pick at first, and then you got to wait for everybody to sneak around. 8's right there. So you're in a position to come back and get a running back next round. So Kemper, BTK, Drew Brees, 512 points projected in Nafla this year. Moving on, pick number 9, Austin Spurs. Walt's always competitive, always in there. Of course, he's got Danger Russ Wilson, who keeps him in it every year. James Conner at running back, a bit of a down year last year, looks to bounce back, hopefully. I think the Pittsburgh's going to look to run the ball a lot more to keep Ben upright and on the field. He's got Chris Godwin, breakout season last year for Godwin. Second highest scoring wide receiver in all of Nafla. Put up 312 points last year. Had 121 targets, 86 catches, 1,333 yards, and 9 touchdowns for Godwin. Second highest scorer behind Michael Thomas, who ran away with it last year. And he's got Joey Bosa on defense. Could go running back. I think, though, when you're looking at a player like Michael Thomas, 402 points last year. Michael Thomas had an unbelievable season last year. We're talking about a guy who caught 149 balls last year. 149 receptions, 1,725 yards, 9 touchdowns, was targeted 185 times. I mean, the guy, best route runner in all football. To me, he's not your big-time flashy guy, but he's going to produce. And when you're looking at an opportunity to add a player like of his caliber to your roster to team up with Godwin there, when you can have the top 2 scoring wide receivers on your roster going into this year, that's pretty damn good. So I think Michael Thomas off the board, Austin Spurs, pick number 9. Pick number 10, San Don't call me Pablo Sala. He's got Aaron Rodgers on there, who was able to get in a keeper round last year. Adam Thielen, wide receiver. Austin Eckler's the guy now, the go-to in, I almost said San Diego, L.A. Chargers. And he's got Jordan Hicks. Jordan Hicks, ladies and gentlemen, was the number one scoring defensive player in all of Nafla last year, if you can believe it. 335 points last year for Jordan Hicks. Was able to stay healthy. 93 solo tackles, 1.5 sacks, 6 pass defended, 3 interceptions, couple forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery. So he put up some points in Arizona. Let's hope he stays healthy for Pablo. I'd like to see it. I always like Jordan Hicks. The only problem, he just couldn't stay on the field in Philadelphia. So he's got a nice little. I think he's going to go running back, right? Austin Eckler. Now that he's the guy, when he played the complimentary role with Melvin Gordon there, you know, he put up some numbers. Now that he's the focal point, who knows? Sometimes guys kind of, you know, they crumble under the pressure. So I think he's going to want to try and get another guy in there. I'm looking at Kenyon Drake, right? Kenyon Drake in Arizona, I think, is poised, other than the fact that Arizona's offensive line is a little bit shaky. I think he's poised to have when he came over from Miami last year, I mean, he just tore it up, right? That's where he got most of his stats. He's the focal point. He's the guy there. You know, they got rid of David Johnson in that trade. They brought in DeAndre Hopkins, which is going to help him out a great deal. Hopkins, Fitzgerald, if Kyler Murray can get the ball to these guys and open up space, right? Open up space, get the ball to these guys down the field, which is going to open up the underneath, which is going to create holes. Kenyon Drake's going to run through those holes. Projected to get 395 points in Nafla last year. Like I said, most of his production came when he was traded later in the season. He only scored 8 touchdowns. He only put up 817 yards, 170 touches, but he's, you know, focal point in the passing game. 50 catches for 345 yards, targeted 68 times. Kenyon Drake going to San Saba, pick number 10. Pick number 11, Bring the Painley, who was one of those guys that didn't get their keepers in. And you're lucky. I love you guys. Put it to you this way, if we were allowed to wheel and deal, right, and make trades and stuff, keepers would be locked right now. And, you know, I could have been a dick of a commissioner, and I could have just put in like shit players for you to keep because you didn't pay attention and you didn't get your shit in when you're supposed to. You're not the only one, but I'm calling you out. Because you got Lamar Jackson on your roster as your quarterback. Dude, talk about somebody that had a coming out party last year. 707 total Nafla points last year in fantasy. I mean, absolute monster of a season. He rushed for over 1,200 yards. Yeah, 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns. He threw for 3,100 yards, 36 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions as well. So he wasn't turning the ball over. I think he needs to improve in his passing game a little bit. I think he needs to kind of, as electric as he is to run around, I just don't want to see the same thing happen that's happened to a lot of quarterbacks that run a lot. Cam Newton's had injury issues. Of course, we know what happened to RG3. Had that incredible rookie year and then just knee blown out in that game and hasn't been the same ever since. Mike Vick, who was able to play for a number of years but was oft injured. I don't want to see the same thing happen. So, I mean, running close to 200 times and 1,200 yards on the ground, that's pretty insane. I think teams are going to capitalize on that. But to say the least, Lamar Jackson, David Johnson, who the aforementioned trade there with talking about Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, and Kenyon Drake. David Johnson came over in that deal. Shaq Barrett and Corey Littleton. Talk about a guy that's got a 1-2 punch there at linebacker. I think you're talking about like number 9 and number 10 collectively. No, even higher than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 311 points for Littleton last year. 307 for Shaq Barrett. So he's got a couple really good linebackers. Barrett was the one that led the league in sacks last year. 19.5 sacks for Shaq Barrett last year. Bring the Painley. I think he's got the running back there. David Johnson, new atmosphere. You know, let's see what he does. Maybe he goes running back. There's a couple guys out there. But maybe he looks at Tyreek Hill and adds the cheetah, the speed monster, who's got Patty Mahomes who loves to throw the deep ball, and Andy Reid, who just loves to throw the football. And he just can't help himself. Got to throw it 80 times a game. Man loves to throw the football. I think you're going to look at Tyreek Hill going pick number 11. He's 315 points projected in Nafla this year. You know, why not? Pick number 12, short stacks, Ben Hash, another one's got a nice little, he's got Deshaun Watson, who's projected to have a solid year this year. Quarterback, DeAndre Hopkins, going to Arizona. Hopkins is steady, man. Talk about probably the most consistent wide receiver. Always plays, too. Doesn't miss a game. You got Devin Singletary, nice young running back in Buffalo, although bringing in Zach Moss in the draft this year, I think they're going to split time there. And I think that their passing game is more developed in Buffalo. Josh Allen projected to have a big year. Brought in Stephon Diggs in a trade. I think Buffalo is going to look to maybe throw the ball a little bit more. And he's got Quan Alexander. Has always been steady at linebacker. Looking at his roster, I mean, he could use another running back. Like I said, Singletary, probably going to split some time maybe. He is a guy now, though. I do like Singletary. You got Hopkins at wide receiver. You also got Julio Jones at wide receiver, available to be picked. And I think Short Stacks pulls the trigger. Why would you not want to pair Hopkins and Jones, right? That's like probably the best combo aside from Michael Thomas and Chris Godwin. Why not have a dynamic wide receiving combo there? Julio Jones projected to get 271. Julio had a solid year last year, right? Julio had a pretty good year last year. I think the Falcons are going to be better this year than they were last year. What did Julio do? I think he had about 8 touchdowns, over 1,000 yards. Julio's more the big play guy. He doesn't really get to, I mean, he had what? Let's see here. He was targeted just under 100 catches, 157 targets, 99 catches, 1,300 yards, 6 touchdowns. That's what Julio did last year. So, solid year. I think he bounces. I think Atlanta bounces back. They got Todd Gurley now in the backfield, kind of help on that short yardage. They were having struggle in the short yardage game last year. They lost Tevin Coleman, and of course, Devontae Freeman got hurt. So, Julio Jones, poised to have another big year. Short Stacks takes him. Pick number 12. Pick number 13, that guy. Here's where I think it gets interesting. There's a certain player out there there's a lot of hype surrounding, right? Rookie out of LSU, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think that guy's going to pull the trigger. He's got, this is what he's got on his roster. He's got Kamara, he's got Travis Kelce, he's got Kyler Murray, he's got DJ Moore. I look at Edwards-Helaire as the same kind of back as Kamara. Kamara, who catches balls. Kamara last year, I think, caught close to, I think like 90-some catches last year for Kamara. Didn't see the end zone a lot, but had a lot of catches coming out of the backfield. Very heavily involved in that passing game. Yeah, he's targeted 97 times, had 80 catches, 533 yards, only 1 touchdown through the air, 797 yards on the ground, 5 touchdowns for Kamara. I look at the same kind of production I look at the same kind of player with Edwards-Helaire. I don't really see it. All the hype. I mean, Matt Berry is all on this guy's nuts. I don't really see it. I like other rookie running backs, and just in the position they're at, and just personal preference. But I think Dylan's going to pull the trigger here. He needs a running back. He doesn't have a second-round pick. He traded that away to Saba. So I think he's going to pull the trigger. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, first rookie off the board in the 2020 Nafla NFL Draft. Moving on to the Boo Birds, pick number 14. Boo Birds, youngest member of the mighty Nafla. Boo Birds got the Brady. That's right. Boo Birds got the Brady, the GOAT, greatest of all time. He's also got Juju Smith-Schuster, down year last year. Everybody was hurt in Pittsburgh. Looking to bounce back. Mark Andrews had a breakout season last year. He's a top 3, I think, projected. Actually, the 3rd projected tight end, I believe, in Nafla this year. I know he put up points last year. I think he was top 3. Let's see here. He was the top 5. He put up 209 points last year. I think he's projected around 220 or something like that. He had 64 catches, 852 yards, 10 touchdowns for Andrews. So Lamar Jackson likes him in the red zone, so that's a good thing. He's also got Budda Baker, who just got paid. Love Budda Baker. Best safety in football. Talk about a guy that puts up nothing but points on defense. I think for a safety, he was like the 5th highest scoring player in all of Nafla defense last year, perhaps. Let's pull this up and take a look at it. Budda Baker actually was top 10, 299 points, had 104 solo tackles. That's more than any of the linebackers in front of him. 104 solo tackles as a safety. That's nuts. Buda Baker just got paid. Boo Birds, I think what's going to happen here, he's going to handcuff. He's got to handcuff because there's a guy that's going to have a monster year this year with Brady now in Tampa. Mike Evans. Mike Evans has been in the league since 2014 and every season has averaged 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns. The only other player to do that, Randy Moss. Not bad company. I think Mike Evans is going to benefit out of everybody. I think he's going to have a bigger year than Godwin. Everyone thinks that bringing Gronk in, Brady's going to be nothing but Gronk. Brady to Gronk. Brady to Gronk. Gronk in the red zone is going to get his looks. I think Evans, though, is going to be the reliable veteran that Brady's going to lean on to move the sticks. That's all I'm saying. Mike Evans, pick number 14, going to the Boo Birds. Brings us to Mean Green. There was a trade, 2 trades made last year. Mean Green acquired picks number 15 and 16 this trade via the Crush. Crush was looking to add some talent, making a playoff push, made it all the way to the Chilson Bowl. Both these teams that Mean Green traded with made it to the Chilson Bowl, obviously. Picks number 15 and 16, Crush and True Playa. We will go through their keepers. Crush is keeping... real quick, we'll get at this. Crush has got Stafford, Bobby Wagner, Blake Martinez, and Derwin James, who I love. Coming off a pretty bad injury last year, though, but should be okay. And True Players keepers are Dak Prescott, Nick Chubb, and Aaron Jones, probably the best backfield in all of Nafla, which helped lead him to that championship, and Roquan Smith at linebacker. But enough about those guys. Let's talk about Mean Green here. Mean Green took Derrick Henry, pick number 4. Got Wentz, got Ertz, got Jalen Smith, Landon Collins, got a nice little start, nice little core going there. I think he's going to go receiver back to back because there's 2 receivers that he really, really likes. One, both in LA, not same team, same city, not the same team. One being Keenan Allen, pick number 15, going to Mean Green. Keenan Allen, another guy, much like DeAndre Hopkins, much like Michael Thomas, just very consistent. Year in, year out, you can pretty much set your watch. He's going to catch, about 100 balls. He's going to get around 1,100, 1,200 yards. He's going to get in the end zone 7-8 times, six touchdowns you can figure on. Keenan Allen, very solid. He's been able to stay healthy. He's played in all 16 games the past 3 seasons. So he's been on the field. Best ability, the availability, ladies and gentlemen. Pick number 15, going to take Keenan Allen, projected to get 246 points in Nafla. Pick number 16, the other receiver that he loves. Drafted him coming out of college, lost him in a deal, right? Made a trade with his nephew because he was never mind. Couldn't keep him, got thrown back to the Wolves, became a non-keeper selected player, and been wanting him back ever since. I'm talking about Vanilla Thunder. Cooper Kupp, pick number 16 to Mean Green. Love some Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp was the 4th highest scoring receiver in all of Nafla last year. Had an awesome year. 134 targets, 94 catches, 1,100 yards, and 10 touchdowns. 10 touchdowns. Saw the end zone quite a bit. Was the 2nd highest scoring. Scored the most. He had the 2nd most touchdowns of any wide receiver in Nafla is what I'm trying to say. I'm all pumped up. Can't help it. Cooper Kupp off the board. Gonna cut this round 1 short. We're looking at 40 minutes. It's gonna take forever to render. I hope to have it up tonight. I'll be back tomorrow with round 2. I got it right. Yeah, round number 2 of the Nafla 2020 MALO VERDE mock draft. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, draft on Sunday. I'm going to keep saying it because I want everybody there, guys. 7 p.m. this Sunday, August 30th. Nafla 2020 draft. Right? Let's do it. Let's be there. It's fantasy time. Get in the game! Or I'll just gladly take your fucking money. All right? MALO. Out.